Okay, so here we are. I've gotten some questions about how I was going to finish this, and in my last video I kind of showed you this, but what I've done, there's a flange that comes out here. You can see the indentation right here. This is Kerdi-Band with thinset underneath to set it in place and to waterproof it as best as possible. There's thinset on top. I'm going to shave that off with a brick block. And basically it's a brick rub that you rub on here and it takes this thinset off. I put it on there just to get it to set a little bit firmer. So it's smoothed into the drywall, but I'm going to smooth that up before I put joint compound. It's going to be a hot mud, a setting compound, not a premix, over the Kerdi-Band and blend it in, okay, to match the rest of the joint compound that's already on the wall from the previous seam. Up on the top, okay, so this is, let me go back. This is a greenboard, okay? On the side, because I didn't need to cement board all this or hardy backer it. So the flange to the greenboard, I used a Kerdi-Band over it, then set it on there. That'll help waterproof that seam. Up above, because I had to mate these two with depth, up above here, there's the flange, there's the Kerdi-Band, thinset's oozing out because I had to squeeze it out to the greenboard drywall. Now, that's because I couldn't go over the flange here on this side to get it all lined up. Now on the back wall, as you can see there is no flange to deal with because the hardy backer I furred out so that the hardy backer went over the surround flange and over the screws. Okay, so all that's going to go in there after I skim the hardy backer with setting compound is going to be just some siliconized caulk, 100% silicone, waterproof. It'll keep any water from going in there, and don't forget you have about an inch of flange, so the water's not going to penetrate in here and then go up. Okay, and then I did the same thing on this side. As you can see, there's a gap there. That's where the hardy backer's been furred out and then set. Have a joint seam there. That joint seam is gone over there. We're going to joint seam up here with some setting mud and then caulk that. I'm not taping that because I'm trying to make a transition to an already textured ceiling. So in spots like this, I'll have to do a little texture, but it's not going to be like trying to texture the whole thing all the way down. Now on my particular situation, we had a corner piece here, okay? So there's a flange, remember, like on the other side, there's a flange that comes out. We put 2-inch piece of cement board all the way down, and then I should make a note that on this side over here, that's a Kerdi-Band that's been cut in half. It's like 5 inches wide, so it's about a 2.5 inch wide strip, okay, to go up and just cover that. On this side, we had a corner, so underneath all this is the Kerdi-Band, okay, that's been thinset. So Kerdi-Band and over. So that's why all this thinset's here that you see. It's actually flaking off because I just sanded it down, so we'll get all that residue off. Alright, so we then put on top of that our vinyl corner bead, not metal because metal will rust, vinyl corner bead, and we're going to use the setting compound over this and transition onto this drywall, and then we'll have a regular joint tape here, and we'll come back over and flush it up with this here. Now this is a lot of mud that they used here on this corner previously. This is where an existing 2x6 stayed, and we wanted to save that space because right next to it is the toilet, so any space here that we can save is great. We still have to patch this down here, so when we do the transition, all this is going to be patched in with that setting mud. Now, you're asking why didn't we take this out? Well, because we're going to have to mate to this anyway, and it's a corner, so it'll be easier just to glob it on and then sand it down smooth all as one instead of trying to get this down and then trying to get this over and feathered in to a completely smooth piece. So since this piece is already feathered, it'll just be easier to fill in this gap. Okay? And then sand that down so it's smooth with the existing, instead of trying to get a 12-inch drywall knife in there. We have a corner knife, but it's going to be 4 inches on either side, and so it'll just be easier to take a 4-inch putty knife or 2-inch putty knife and fill this in and smooth it out, sand it down a couple of times with a couple of coats. Alright, so I hope that helps better explain this particular part of the project. We're getting started. Put the corned bead up today. We're going to finish doing the seam over here, and we're going to start on this with the drywall. Weather's been nasty. It was supposed to be sunny yesterday, and it snowed and rained and snowed and rained all day, so I wasn't able to get outside to mix this stuff up. But hopefully today it's a little bit sunnier, but it's really cold, so we'll see just how much we can get done. Alright, stay tuned.